Okay, these are the ingredients for the Schezwan chicken backpacking meal that we're making today. This amount of ingredients makes 2 servings, and you can just multiply that if you're preparing 6 servings or 8 servings, whatever. You can just multiply the recipe. We're using organic, free-range, boneless, skinless chicken thighs. We'll prepare these in a minute. This is about 340 grams or 12 ounces of chicken thighs. And then we've got rainbow peppercorns that we're going to prepare and powder and use as a part of the coating or the marinade on the chicken. And we also have Schezwan peppercorns here, which actually are not a peppercorn. They are the berry off of an ash bush, which originated in Central America. That's what I understand. So, but that's what gives you that spicy, tingling taste from anything Schezwan or the Schezwan peppercorns. And that too will be ground. We'll prepare that. It'll go in the marinade for the chicken. And so that was 1 gram or a half teaspoon of the tri-blend peppercorns and 2 grams of the Schezwan peppercorns. And then we're gonna have, we're using liquid aminos instead of soy sauce. And then we're also using Bragg's coconut liquid aminos for dark soy sauce that will go in the marinade and the final sauce that we add. And then we've got garlic paste and ginger paste, and that's gonna be 1 tablespoon of each. And then we've got 2 teaspoons of monk fruit or swerve, a half a teaspoon of Himalayan salt because the Bragg's marinade and sauce is going to be salty enough. We're also going to add some sesame oil, 15 grams of that. And then we've got 4 grams of peppers to go in here. These are kind of a medium spicy pepper. We'll end up setting 2 of these out, slicing them up to go in the final dish, and the rest of them will get powdered along with the peppercorns and the Schezwan peppercorns. Then we're going to end up with 100 grams of sliced red onion. You can use white onion or yellow onion if you like, but we're using red. And then we've got 2 ounces or about 56 grams of snow peas. We're gonna have 2 ounces or 56 grams of red bell pepper. Then we're gonna have 4 ounces or about 113 grams of broccoli that we're gonna slice up. And that's it. So those are the base ingredients. The only ingredients that you don't see on the cutting board right now are the Bragg's aminos, the coconut aminos, the sesame oil, and I think that's it. Everything else is right here on the board. So let's get to slicing and dicing. Okay, so we're gonna slice up our 56 grams of red bell pepper. And then we're going to want these pretty small because we're going to be freeze drying this dish. Okay, so I think that's it for the vegetables. These will go in last because I like them really crispy. And okay, so I've prepped the 340 grams of chicken thighs, and these are in smaller cubes. I would normally just slice these fairly thinly if I were just eating it at home, but because we're going to do a freeze-dried backpacking meal, I've sliced these and then cubed them into pretty small pieces. There's nothing there that's bigger than an inch cubed. And then I've got the ground peppercorn, Schezwan peppers, and the spicy peppers, and we are going to marinate all that in a bowl with 2 tablespoons of Bragg's aminos in place of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of Bragg's coconut aminos, which is in place of the dark soy sauce. And if you have access to soy sauce and dark soy sauce, or simply choose to use those, you can certainly do that. And then I've got 2 tablespoons of white rice wine vinegar in here as well. So let's get a bowl and marinate them up. All right, so here's our bowl. We're gonna take and put chicken in there. We're gonna add these liquids to the marinade, and we're gonna add the powdered spices, and then we're just gonna mix this all up. And we're gonna let that sit while we warm up our pan, and get that warming. And while we're waiting on the pan to warm, we'll go ahead and prepare the sauce that will go in right when we add the veggies. Okay, so in here we have 2 tablespoons of Bragg's liquid aminos, 2 tablespoons of white rice wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of water, and then to that we're going to add the garlic paste, ginger paste, salt, and monk fruit powder, and mix that up. I guess there is one more thing that I forgot on the Schezwan chicken marinade, and that's the cornstarch. Alright, so we're going to let that sit, and I'll get a glove and we'll add the cornstarch into this. Okay, so we're going to add about a tablespoon of this cornstarch, and that's going to help give it a nice glaze and thicken up a little bit. All right, let's get the frying pan warmed up. We're actually going to be using a enamel Dutch oven, and get things cooking. Okay, so we've got 1 ounce of coconut oil in there. And that's about done, and it's got the nice little brown caramelization on it. We're going to let it go for another 3 minutes, and then we're going to add the vegetables and the sauce. And I did go ahead and add the 1.5 tablespoons of sesame oil into the sauce. And as I mentioned, I did add the sesame oil into that. We're just going to let that go for a couple minutes, and we're going to turn it off and load it into a freeze dry tray. One more minute and we'll turn off the heat and get it loaded into a tray for freeze drying. Okay, so now it is in the tray to go into the freeze dryer. It'll be frozen and then freeze dried. So it'll take about a day. The weight cooked and in the tray is about 600 grams. So we should be able to calculate how much water we need to add back in if it's fully hydrated after freeze drying it. All right, let's get it in the freeze dryer. Okay, we're also going to go ahead and freeze dry the side dish for this that we're going to serve it along with, which is the cauliflower risotto medley. It's got the cauliflower rice and some mushrooms and asparagus in it. And I will go ahead and sprinkle some Himalayan sea salt and fresh ground pepper on this before we put it in the freeze dryer, and we'll spread that all out nice and flat and get it in there and get it going. Schezwan chicken, and it looks pretty freeze dried. Looks pretty good. So we're going to get that into a ball jar and vacuum seal it just until we can get it into a Mylar bag. Get all these trays cleaned up and get something else going in the freeze dryer. So that's the Schezwan chicken. This is the rice, cauliflower rice risotto. Ooh, nice. With asparagus and mushrooms in it. There's a lot of that. And we also went ahead and did some shrimp. Those feel completely done. Sweet. All right, we'll get these in some jars and start the defrost process. Well, that wraps it up for this recipe. We did get everything packaged in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, and we're ready to head to the backcountry. Stay tuned for those videos. They'll be coming out during July, and as soon as they do, I'll try and put them in the end card for this video and maybe put a end card video here. So stay tuned for that, and when you can, get up, get out, live a little. See ya.
Wow.
Get them off the milk balls. You can inhale them.
That's amazing.
Try a gummy
I
bear
need
yet?
to try a gummy bear.
It's a big white one.
This is my favorite flavor too.
I have no idea.